we have a new version of our daily trading journal that I'm releasing today in our Discord, and this is for everybody that has joined our Discord. But I will say that the people who are not trading our same strategy probably are going to do better off with the trading journal that I share in my beginners course, because it's not necessarily our strategy specific. This new trading journal has a checklist for entries that mirrors our entry checklist that I share all over the place, and it'll have the specific rules that we use to trade that by in our course. But this is the trading journal that goes along with that, and again, it's available for anybody in our Discord, so pop over there if you want to get this download. And of course, for the members of our course, this will be in the download section for you to grab at any time. Now, this version of our trading journal, just like the last, is really created to be used each month. So with the mindset that at the beginning of the month or at a certain point of the month that you're going to start over on a new page. Now, you have at the bottom, and for those that are already familiar with Excel, this is going to be really, really easy. But when you get your spreadsheet, you're going to have two tabs down here. You're going to have a master tab, and that's when you never put anything on. It always just holds your master sheet. And then you're going to have one that's labeled copy one. And so when you get your spreadsheet, the very first thing you want to do is, if you right click on that tab and you just say rename, you can give it a month and click off of that and it'll rename it. And then if you want to say you're going in to start June's sheet, you're just gonna right click on, click on your master sheet here. And if you right click on that, you can then come over here to click on move or copy and say create a copy, just like this, and say okay. And now it made a copy and put it at the beginning, and then you could go in and you can rename that to whatever month you're on. And so now this would be the one that you put all of your data in, and you can change the color of this. I have the green for the ones that you can use. Red means don't type in this one, it's your original. And you can just click on tab color here and change it to whatever color you want to use. And again, then you've got your data to the right, your tabs to the right, and your newest one is the one that you're on each month. So the way that this particular sheet starts is basically the same as the one that I shared in the beginners course that I made available to the beginner and the advanced students. And that is going to be this data set right here. And it is the same rules. The only places that you are typing in and that you are responsible for are the three highlighted boxes right here. Everything else is going to be filled in for you. And it's all just data to give you feedback that is dynamic through the month while you're trading. So I'll go over this. It's the same information on the other sheet, but you have pips won here, pips lost, your net pips traded, and your pip return on investment. And all of that is populated from the data that you enter in here on the actual sheet. And so you don't need to type anything. Don't change the formulas. Don't do anything. Just let that populate that information for you throughout the month. Then you've got how many trades you've won, how many trades you've lost, your win ratio, your loss ratio. Again, that's going to populate for you. Now, what you do have right here at the beginning of the month is your beginning balance. And so whatever your account balance is, you just want to come right here to beginning balance and you want to type that in. And whatever your beginning balance is, you type that in there, and it's going to come in, and throughout the month it'll tell you how much money you've won, how much money you've lost, what that balance is, and what your growth percentage of your account is. And remember, as I just want to stop here for a second and really emphasize that you are taking a long-term snapshot. So focus on the regulation of your emotions as you're going through the week, that you may see a negative growth in the beginning of the month, or you may see this number go up and down, that you're really over a long-term macro view of how your trading account is moving and is growing. So don't get too focused on that number day to day or week to week. You're really wanting to take that at least a monthly overall look of how your trades are each month. Then you have the balance right here. This is the same, whatever the balance is throughout the month. So this number, your beginning balance at the beginning of the month, stays the same. You don't change that throughout the month. But what happens right here at this particular number is, let's say that you start out with $2,000 and you've increased your account and now you're at $3,200. And what this is it's telling you that if you place a trade that is 1% of your account balance, that's going to be a trade worth $32. If you are placing it 2%, it's going to do the calculation for you, $64, and 3%, $96. And I would recommend, unless you're on a high risk account, unless you have taken a bit of your standard, your primary trading account, and set it aside for gambling or for high probability trades, that you don't ever trade over 1 or 2% of your account balance. And so for the people that can't necessarily quickly do those calculations, this is just a calculator so that when you're entering in your trades, you know immediately, dynamically, you can change that balance and know what that trade should be worth, and you can adjust your units accordingly. Now, this right here is the units you placed on your trade. So you might place, if you have a real small account, you might be trading 5,000, 7,000, 10,000, 20,000 units. And that's going to correlate to whatever this particular whatever percentage of your account that you're trading at the time, and that doesn't matter, because again, what this is a calculator, just a quick glance of information that helps you to know when you're closing partials or taking profit off the table, that this is what those calculated units are for you, for those who also maybe are trading an odd number of units, or you just want that confirmation that you're entering in the numbers right, because it can be overwhelming when you're looking at so many different numbers when you're just first starting to trade. And so this is just again a calculator. If you don't need it, you can delete it off there, leave it, ignore it, whatever works for you. But it is there for people that want that. And so however many units you place in your trade, if it's 13,000 units, it says, okay, when you're pulling take profit 1, when you've hit take profit 1, you want to close a partial of, if your profit is 75%, say you're taking 75% off the table, you would put in to close a partial of 9,750 units if your trade was 13,000 units. So you're going to type in, only in this highlighted box here, whatever that unit number is that you just traded, so that you can just at a glance know what take profit 1, take profit 2, or take profit 3 is. Now right here you have where you can change these percentages to be anything you want. You see that in the sheet, the way it comes to you, it's going to read 75, 15, and 10. You can take and change. You can take, by double clicking on it, come up here to the formula box, and you can change that percentage right there. This right here would be 50% instead of the 75. And then if I was you, I would change that percentage right here so that you know exactly what it is. And so now it's showing you 50% versus 75. But when you get it, it's again going to read 75, 15, and 10. And it's just going to automatically calculate that based on however many units you placed in the trade. And so it's just right there, because this stays up all the time, or it does, at least for me. I have a discipline in place for journaling my trades for several reasons, and it's a great discipline to have. You need to run your trading like a business and not be just randomly placing trades and not keeping up with it and saying, well, I think I'm winning 80% of the time, or I think I'm losing 80% of the time. You want data. You don't want to just throw numbers out there. You want to see them. So this again is just calculators, just information. If somebody wants that or needs that. If not, feel free to delete it, take it off. Now, when you get your spreadsheet, you'll see at the top here, there are several graphics that give various pieces of information. If you don't need them, delete them. You can delete them, you can take them off, you can keep whatever you want, you can do whatever. I just put them on there and populated that for you. Longer term traders, you're already going to remember what the lot sizes mean. You're going to remember what times, which sessions are open, where your overlap is, what the banks are that are open, what time you have volume, what are your volume trading. You're going to know what the main currency pairs are and the nicknames and what country it is. You're going to know at what point you're profitable and you're not. And hopefully you know just in your mind your trading checklist. But regardless, that is up there. You can add any picture you want up there. I shared in my other video in the beginner's course, I actually have my vision board. These aren't the graphics that I have in my personal sheet, but I actually have my personal vision board. So the whole time I'm trading, I went to, it was either PicMonkey or Canva. I've made them in both of them, but you can do either one, or to any graphic editing software is going to have the capability to let you paste random pictures that mean something to you for the goals that you're trying to achieve, whether they're for trading, personal, financial, whether they're relationship, whether they're goals of reading books or your physical body, whatever it is. I have that up on mine. So you get to choose whatever's up there. If you want to change the picture, all you have to do is come up here to say insert pictures, and if there's a picture on your computer that you've saved or tablet or whatever, you just say this device, and it's going to go out and it's going to find those for you, and you just take and insert that, and that picture is just going to show up right there for you. So into the actual sheet itself, now you only really have, because it's set up for a month, you have from line 18, and if you scroll down, I have all of this at the top that's just stationary, so you're always going to be able to see where you're at. But you have from line 18 to line 77, that's where all the formulas exist. If you go down below that, there's no formulas, so you're just going to need to copy the lines down or insert lines if you find that you've taken, you know, over 60 something trades during the month. And that's fine, but this is going to be more, especially for our strategy, this is usually going to be more than enough for traders, even if you're trading every single day and take multiple trades each day. So you're going to put your date here, the pair you have, and the way I put in, let's fill this out as we go. This is today's date. The pair, let's say one of my favorite pairs that I've been trading in the group this past couple months, 2 or 3 months, we're gonna do the euro yen. And let's say that when I do this the instant that I enter a trade, and so let's say it's 5 a.m. and this right here asks for your trade bias, whether you're on a buy or a sell. Now what I also do is I come in and I have a section here for an entry picture. And you know what? I don't even have Trading View up right now. Let's pull it up real quick. And when I enter a trade, and let's just say I had looked at this retest and got a signal and I entered a trade and I'm trying to see what it's doing, I would, soon as I enter, I would come over here and take a snapshot, and I would copy the link. I would click on copy link right here. And if you'll see that this is on the 1 hour. And so then if I come over to my spreadsheet, I have an entry pick, and I do the H1 and I do a Control V, and that's just going to paste the link there. Now what I also do for my spreadsheets is I would also come in and I take my entry time frame, and I would have all my markups. I would have any notes on there, anything that I would want to be reminding myself of or showing myself of. And so then on the entry time frame, I would also come in and copy a link, because I want to know exactly what I was seeing when I placed the trade. And then I'm going to come in here at the end, and you can double click on the cell and make sure you're at the very end, or you can just come up here on this bar and you type in entry time frame. or you can type in, 5 minute, whatever your actual entry time frame is, and then I hit Control V again. And so now in the entry pick, I have 2 different pictures of exactly what was going on. So if, say, at the end of the month when I'm kind of reviewing my trades, or at the end of the quarter, or the end of the week, or whatever, or when I'm looking at the strategy of what's not working or what is working, what's in common of the trades I'm winning, what's in common of the trades I'm losing, or why did I take that trade? What was I seeing? Now that you've watched the market play out, like why was I going for a sell when it was clear there was a buy? What was I seeing that day? You don't have to go back into TradingView, go into your replay bar and try to position it. You literally can see your markup right there. I think that that's very valuable. You do not have to do both time frames. I do, but again, I never know when I'm showing John or somebody, Samuel or another trader that I'm working with, a trade that I took. And again, for myself, I don't feel like going back and setting it up again if I'm trying to answer a question about, hey, I lost 3 of these trades and it was all they were all green lights across the board. Was there something I was missing? It gives you so much data. So your entry picks there. Now these next columns right here are our win and loss columns. And so if we win a trade, we have our pull down here and it's going to just enter the number 1. Or if we lose, it's going to enter the number 1. And as you see, it's going to populate if you've won or if you've lost, how many trades that you've won total during the month and how many trades you've lost during the month. And it's going to just be calculating those for you as you go, what your win ratio is, what your loss ratio is. And so as you go forward, it's just the pull down there. So just enter whichever one, and then you're going to see that tally as you go forward. You have a trade time length. And this for me, again, you can change this to be any kind of information. I found it valuable to know how long I was in the trade. Was I in the trade for 6 hours? Was I in the trade for 10 minutes? If you're in a winning trade and you closed it out after 20 pips and the trade ran for 8 hours, you may look at what pair, what time did I enter? Was I in a consolidation? If that happens every single day and you're entering in at New York at noon, 11 o'clock, and you're like, oh, okay, there's, consolidation. The market doesn't have as much volume, or it's during the Asian session or whatever, that gives you an idea of, wow, I'm sitting for 8 hours on a trade for 20 pips, which, hey, if you can pull 20 pips in a day, you can change not only your life, but every life for the generations following you if you are consistent in that. So don't knock that, but that just gives you the information of that. Also, it's like, hey, I'm pulling 30 pips in 15 minutes, which is a very common thing for me in my trading, to pull between 20 and 50 pips in 30 minutes to an hour or less. I want to see that. So that's that kind of information. And this you can read anything. You can say 45 minutes. You can type it out. You can type it in 1H. You can, spell it out, whatever means something to you. And again, if that's not information you want, you can delete it out. This is how many pips you won or lost. Now this needs to be specific. And if you win, you want to type in whatever that number, and if you lose, you want to type a negative before that number, because you will see it comes and populates automatically up here for pips won and pips lost. And so that's going to automatically populate that. Now we have an exit picture. And so let's just say whenever either that I've closed the trade down, or you got stopped out, or you took a partial, I come in here and I say, okay, again, copy link. I come right over here. I do a Control V. Let's say if I do a partial, I will take and type partial. And then if I come in and finally close the trade out, say an hour later, I'll come in and type exit, and then I'll paste that exit. And so now I've just got a record of whatever that looked like at the minute, and I don't have to go back and try to guess if I'm looking for examples, or if I'm trying to really look at what kind of trades I'm taking, what the market was doing at the time. I've got it immediately. And again, I find that very valuable. This is entry exit notes. You can just type any notes that are relevant to you. You can say anything that you want in the entry and exit. And a lot of times, especially in the beginning, like I would just journal what my emotions were, what I was seeing, what I was looking at when I entered, any of the caution points. Because sometimes after you click that trigger and you take your position, then you go, oh no, you come up with all kind of different things in your head. I remember that just vividly, at least for me, where I would look at the different story that the market was telling. And so sometimes just journaling what I was thinking also showed the maturity and some of the triggers that I had to work on my own psychology. So entry and exit notes, put it there if you want, don't if you don't. And this is the value of that trade. So not only the take profit 1, take profit 2, take profit 3, however you need to do it, this is the full value of the trade. Now, the way that I do that, let's say in the beginning, let's say my first take profit is $452. And then let's just say I come in and an hour later, I also hit take profit 2, and let's say at take profit 2, I pull another $250. So what I usually do is I just come up here to the formula bar and I put equals, and then I go plus, let's say a 250, and so now it's giving me that value of 702. And then let's say right after that price starts reversing and I take $123, and so that was the entire value of the trade was $825, and this trade was a 45-minute trade, so that's not too bad. And so you see that. Now, if the trade is a loss and you lose money, you need to type a negative in that space, and hopefully you're managing your trade amount. And so if you would have whatever that trade was worth, hopefully you're losing less, but whatever it is, let's say that you lost $350, you just need to press that negative before it, and it's coming up here, and you're going to see that it is calculating from your beginning balance that you won $475 total. Now your balance is $24.75, which you should see in your trading software. That should match at least within a couple cents, because it does round up, and that the growth of your account is up 23% already this month. And so that's just kind of an ongoing total. And so if we come over here to our checklist. Now I have the checklist. You can start this at the beginning of your trading day before if you know what pair you're kind of sitting on, you can kind of fill this out. And this is this actual trading checklist that I have as a graphic that most of the time when I share my charts or my trades, I'll try to slip that graphic in there because I just kind of do it in my head. I just see it. I don't even always mark it on my charts. I try to if I'm sharing my charts, but this is this checklist, and all it is saying what is the higher time frame bias. Is it buys or sells? What does your trading range say that you're doing? Is it buys or sells? And the number one, your trading time frame zone retest. This cannot be anything except whatever direction, whatever bias you take. You can take a trade where possibly on the daily is showing buys, but you've been in long-term sells, and so the trading time frame is retesting a supply zone, and you go, no, I'm confident in this. Like my higher time frame bias is buys, but I'm confident that this is sells, and the refined zone has to be in sells, and the refined zone retest has to be a sell zone retest. So those with those stars, as those taking the course know, those have to match. And then you're coming over here with any of your confluences that you have. Let's say the trade we took, yes, had a break of structure. Yes, we targeted imbalance or filling imbalance. Yes, we saw trend line or equal high and low manipulation. Yes, there was an unbelievable price point that we either bounced off of or were barreling towards, and we were trading during high volume time. And so we go through and we fill out our checklist, and as we go through the month and we look at our wins and losses, what we're seeing is that we can tell the times that it matched all the way across, or the times that there was one or the other, or where the probability of our wins falls. But regardless, we have to have these three of our zone rules matching. These can sometimes be different, but if the market is favoring buys or sells, you're always going to make more money going with the trend. But sometimes, as you heard in the course, sometimes we have a very large range, and so that pullback before the next impulse move, even traveling to the top of the pullback, sometimes can be hundreds of pips, and so we can take some pretty profitable trades in there as well if your trading plan allows you to take counter trend trades. And so when you're filling out your checklist, let's say that you didn't have an imbalance and you didn't have price point, that all you had was break of structure and manipulation. There is no data that's compiled from this besides just a visual for you. If you're at a green light to enter a trade, you can have different rules for your trading plan that rides on top of this strategy and just be like, unless it matches all the way across, I don't enter. Unless I have every single confluence present, I don't enter. And again, sometimes you're going to be on sells here. Sometimes you're going to be on buys here. My personal trading plan allows me to counter trend trade, even if sometimes the trading range or the higher time frame bias may be on something else. Sometimes you'll see something like this. It just depends, especially like I said, when you have a really large range going. But the best thing and the highest probability is when all of these match and when all of these across the board are present. It doesn't mean you win every time, but it does mean you have a very high probability. So that is the new spreadsheet. Again, it is available in Discord. This is the one that I personally use right now because I started at the discipline years ago of tracking every trade just to a fault. Even I hear traders all the time like, I know what I'm doing, but I just go, yeah, I want the discipline. I know how to run a business, and when I start a business discipline, I try not to slack off. And now it's literally just something that takes seconds. I don't even think about it anymore. And I really love being able to look back and go, well, you know, it was 9 months ago when I made this tweak to my strategy. It was a small tweak, but what are my numbers since then? Has something altered in the way that my trades are running? And again, anytime you can add any formulas, you can add any columns. These are just the ones that I use. I think I actually have an extra column in here. I have an extra column in here on my personal chart, so you can do whatever, but this is the spreadsheet. This is the trading journal that I use, and I hope it's a blessing to you. Again, cruise over to Discord if you want to download it. Otherwise, you can copy it or make something similar to it and, you know, enjoy. Happy trading. It's so fun and it's so awesome. So I know you're going to do a great job. See you in the next video.